for men. Like, you can't talk about having equal rights and then get all pissed off when you got to deal with the downside of being a man. You can't say I want to wear the pants when they're comfortable, but I don't want to wear the pants when they're not comfortable. I want to put the skirt back on after that. No. With the fact of the matter is that in this country that we live in, and Jill Scott knows this, Sherry Shepard knows this, Mary J. Blige knows this, in this country in which we live in, the person who makes the most money is going to get fucked the hardest if you go through a divorce. The person who makes the most money is going to take the biggest financial hit. The person who makes the most money, if you have a highly disproportionate income to your partner, meaning that you make a ton and they ain't making nothing, then you have pretty much taken on another dependent. So it's almost like having another baby. And you in that relationship, that economic relationship doesn't die just because you decided to put an end to your marriage, or you decided that they don't like you, or you decided that they ain't giving you good enough sex, or you just tired of them, or you whatever it is, or y'all grew apart. No. You're going to have to be responsible for that person for many years after their divorce is over. And some people don't like that. Well, I say whether you like it or not, I would encourage anybody who's ever thinking about getting married to just make sure you know what that comes with. You know, like in the Game of Thrones, there was a great scene where the guy says to one of the girls, her name was Sansa, and he says, in your head, he said, fight every battle in your head. He said, make every enemy your friend, make every enemy your ally, make every ally your enemy. That means prepare for everything. So when you're in love, imagine to yourself, I wonder what it will be like to be this person's worst enemy. And if you're dating somebody who loves you to death, but says, but wants to murder every person that they don't like, or says horrible things about their enemies, like I want to kill that son of a bitch, or oh, she ain't nothing, she's just a dirty blankety blank. Well, then people like that means he's going to say the same thing about you if the relationship doesn't work out. The same way she hates all her ex-boyfriends and thinks they all need to be buried in a 10-foot grave, she going to feel the same way about you if you don't give her what she's looking for in a relationship, or if things don't work out. Do not think that you are different. Like Bill DeVoe used to say, I thought it was me who made that girl this way. No, the fact is she's like that every day. And that's who she is. So don't think that you're going to get special treatment. If the relationship falls apart and you're dealing, like for example, you have girls that, young ladies, unfortunately, they get caught up, like they like the bad guy. They'll like one time I remember when I was in school and I was all nerdy in school studying, and I got dumped by this girl because she wanted to date this guy who literally was a killer. And I remember being like, why would you want to date a killer? Like, is there something in my lane because I go to college? Like, because I won't pick up a gun and go murder people? And she's like, well, he's just fun. I just kind of like the way he's done. I was like, whatever. I didn't even hear it. But it was like weird to me. Like, why would you date somebody who murders people? Like, if he gets mad at you, he's going to murder you too. Like, anybody, and that's the other thing too, even with obsessive love, like even media fucks up everybody's perception of love. Like, here, let me tell you how it does it. Media and song music will make you think that a person loves you more because they're obsessed with you, because they'll climb any mountain to be with you. They want to spend every second with you. They will walk 20 miles in the snow just to kiss you. And people will be like, oh, that's so romantic. That's so wonderful. Well, my logic was like, okay, so a man who will walk 20 miles in the snow to kiss you, that's also the man who might walk 20 miles in the snow to kill you. So you need to understand that passion goes both ways. Passion goes away. And men too. Men, y'all know y'all do it. For real. Like, seriously, like, the fellas, tell me if you know what I'm talking about. I'm just going to be a little bit real right here with you. Has anybody ever heard the story about how the crazy girls are like, the sex is the best with the crazy girl? Tell me if you've ever heard that, or if you've ever thought that, or if you've ever observed that in your life. You can put up, tap the hearts or something like that, or just make a comment. Okay, that's just me. I'm a man. I'm a man. I have a penis. I've lived my life, right? So I'm just going to be honest with you about that, right? So people have this thing about the crazy. I know a lot of guys who like the crazy girl, and that's what you do when you're young. Like, the crazy girl's cool, but then you realize, like, you have that moment where you're like, oh my God, like I'm dealing with a crazy girl, and then you look back and you're like, why was I with this girl? And so women, ladies, if you're ever confused about why guys pick crazy girls, a lot of times it's because of that, because the crazy girls, maybe the craziness leads them to not have any inhibitions, and they will just do whatever, and you think it's great, and they fall madly in love with you. But then when you try to walk away, Next thing you know, you got a stalker. Next thing you know, like somebody's like coming like to your house and they're like boiling your rabbit in the kitchen and stuff like that, or trying to murder the new girl that she saw you with without her even knowing that was actually your cousin, right? So ultimately, like I think that when you get more mature, you learn how to find that balance. The crazy girl, that ain't where it's at, man. So like, get rid of that crazy girl. She gonna mess you up. Because other things like crazy girl, she'll get you fired from your job. The crazy girl might be the one who falsely accuses you of rape. And you live in a society where an accusation is almost as bad as a conviction. A black man getting accused of sexual assault, doesn't matter. He's kind of done. Like, the accusation's enough. So, to you guys who are out here, doing your thing with the ladies or whatever, I'm not judging it. I'm just saying you got to be careful. You got to value yourself enough to protect yourself. You can't trust a big butt and a smile every time you see a pretty girl that wants to get with you. You got to be intelligent about where you position your body, where you put your seed, where you plant your life. Because one bad person can come in and ruin everything, and that's just a fact. That's just some real stuff. So anyway, with Mary J. Blige, what's interesting to me also is that Mary and her ex-husband Kendu has also said, I read this, I ain't gonna lie, I thought this was honestly kind of funny. He said that he had to get hospitalized due to the stress from the divorce. Right, so he had to go to the hospital. I'm sorry, I'm not laughing. I think that. So he said he had to get hospitalized from the stress of the divorce, and that he's unemployable because the divorce has just overwhelmed him so much that he is having a hard time moving forward, and so he needs to be hospitalized, and so he can get his $30,000 a month in spousal support, and so okay. So Mary J. has been paying him about $30K a month, which is about as much money as a surgeon makes, and he gets that money for because he married her. Now, does anybody know what year they got married? I don't even think this marriage lasted. It had to be less than 5 years. Let me see here. When did Mary J. Blige? Google's great, right? Get married. Okay, when did Mary J. Blige get married? Let me see here. December 7, 2003. Oh, okay. So this is a pretty long marriage. So this is like more than a decade. About 15 years or so, or maybe 13 years before that. I think she filed for divorce in 2016. So it wasn't a short marriage. Okay. So maybe they had their good times. But still, so Kendu says that because he's going through the stress of the divorce, he had to be hospitalized, and he is not able to work. He's unemployable because the stress from the divorce has officially removed his testicles. All right. So I'll tell you the truth. I think it's kind of like they're playing games now. Like I'm sorry, I don't believe. Like, I don't know. I mean, how many of y'all have gone through breakups and had your heart broken? Like, tell me, just tap the heart button, the like button, the thumbs up button, or make a comment. Like, I've had my heart broken. I have been disappointed, highly disappointed by women in the past. I have had situations not work out the way I wanted them to, and not once have I ever needed to be hospitalized or been unemployable because the stress of the breakup was just so overwhelming for me. But that's the kind of stuff you get into when you start. Here's the thing. This is why I want you guys to be really thoughtful about how you invest your life. Remember, investing doesn't just have to do with money. Anything that's valuable to you, especially if it affects your bottom line, your economic prospects, is an investment. So Mary J. Blige is going to end up paying millions of dollars, at least hundreds of thousands of dollars, probably millions, because of the relationship choices that she made. So what you do with your personal life is one of the most important investments that you ever make. So one of the reasons I want you to be thoughtful about this is because once you decide to get married, it ain't just, like dating somebody where you're like, oh, I love you, you love me, let's be together. When you get married, the law is now in your relationship. The courts are now in your relationship. The government is now a part of your relationship. You have legal contracts now, which kind of makes your marriage a business. Marriage ain't nothing but a business. It's a business in a multitude of ways. Number one, it's a business because now your assets are tied together. If you're married in most states, you can't go buy a home without your spouse's permission. If you get a divorce and you have kids together, you may not even be able to move to wherever you want to live without your spouse's permission. So that makes it a lot more complicated. It doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. It just means you want to make sure you think about that. Also, divorce is a big business. There's a whole industry. Go watch the documentary by Dr. Drew. It's called Divorce Corp. In Divorce Corp, he explains how there is a $10 billion a year industry just built off of broken relationships, where there are people that are literally just rubbing their hands, licking their chops, waiting to make money off of people who are going through divorce court, and they eat you alive financially. The average divorcee's wealth level drops by about 70%. So what else? What else is the business about marriage? Oh, getting married itself. Did you know that the average couple spends $30,000 on their wedding? In cities like New York, I think in New York, they spend as much as $80,000. So think about this. You're spending $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, enough money on for a down payment on a home. You're spending that on a day. On a fucking day. Are you kidding me right now? Like, you're spending that much money on a day so you can feel beautiful and look good and feed all these people that you don't even like. I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm not saying that it's stupid to get married or spend money on your marriage. That's cool. Just handle your business first. Do the important stuff first. Like if you don't have a home yet, why would you go borrow 30 grand to get married when you haven't bought a home yet? Use half of that 30 grand on a down payment on a house, and then the other 15 grand, use it for something else. I'm going to tell you like this. If I get married, which I will, this woman is so awesome. It's going to happen. Just be ready for that. When I get married, I'm not dropping all kinds of crazy money on the wedding unless I've handled certain other things first. Right? Certain other priorities should come ahead. I don't give a damn about, like, why do I need a ceremony or legal documents and all this other stuff to validate the fact that I love this black woman? Why would I need all of that? It doesn't mean that that's not important. Sure, sign the paperwork and all of that. That's cool. But that shouldn't be the whole premise behind your relationship and why it exists. That's where people get lost. So ultimately, I think, a lot of us, we just get suckered in. Like, here's another stupid thing. Here's another part of the business side where they fuck you financially. I'm sorry. This is making me mad. That's why I'm cussing. I ain't even going to apologize for it because it's just coming out. But here's the other area where they fuck you. Did you know that, what was it? De Beers. Was it De Beers? I believe. In the 1960s, they put together a campaign called Diamonds Are Forever. And what they deliberately did was they deliberately said, we want to convince people that if your man does not buy you an expensive fucking diamond, he does not love you. We need to convince women that the only way a man can show you his love is to buy a diamond that he cannot afford. The only way he can show you his love is by going in debt and screwing your family financially forever. And if they also, again, for men, they put the ads. Pay attention to the ads. The ads are like, show her that you love her. Buy her a diamond. Well, why the hell I got to buy a diamond to show her that I love her? How about I show her I love her because I text her and say, I think you're the most beautiful woman in the world? How about I show her I love her by walking up and giving her a hug and a kiss on the cheek and saying, I hope you have a good day today? How about showing the person you love them by giving them like the greatest sex known to man? How about showing your love by cooking for the person or being there for the person, having great conversations with that person, showing that you care about that person? Where does that fall into the equation? That don't cost a thing. Like, why do we have this world where somehow people have led us to think that the only way I can show you that I love you is to go buy a damn diamond with, what is it? I think they said, look, that stupid rule, 3 months salary. Do you know how much 3 months salary is? Oh my God. It's stupid. It's stupid. It's stupid. And then what happens is if you're focused on all the wrong things, then what's going to happen is you're going to get buried under the weight of your own economic insanity. That's what's going to occur. And so what I suggest, anybody who ain't married yet, a lot of y'all out here looking, and I'm going to tell you like this for real, like just being 100% honest, like at our events, if you a brother, you looking for great black women, there are amazing black women there. If you are a woman, you're looking for strong black men, there are a lot of strong black men who follow what we do, who show up at our events. So I think that our events are like great matchmaking places. Literally, we had a brother who got on his knee and proposed to a woman at our event. Like, so if you're looking for good, strong black people, like hook up with black people like that. They're conscientious, intelligent, and also they don't fall for the bullshit. So my argument is that if you are picking somebody that you want to invest the rest of your life with, do not invest in somebody who's falling for the bullshit. Don't invest in somebody who's a sucker, who's like, if you don't spend $10,000 on that ring, that means you don't love me as much. Or he must really love her because he's blah, blah, blah. No. Doesn't mean she can't want nice stuff. Ain't no wrong with that. But it's gotta make sense. So maybe sometimes you might meet a woman where the amount of money she's asking you to spend is not a level that you're comfortable with. Same thing though. Same thing with the ladies. Like don't line up with these dudes that are determined to be broke, that are determined to be financially stupid, that are gonna make you feel insecure and unhappy because he's making a bunch of ridiculous decisions with the money. Did you know that divorce is one of the money is one of the leading causes of divorce? Like in fact, in many studies, it's either number one or number two. It's right there with like infidelity and stuff like that. Money is right there near the top of the list as a reason for divorce. Why is that? Well, because a lot of people get married and they don't have financial compatibility. They make different amounts of money. They spend different amounts of money. And ain't nothing that's going to piss you off more than if you a person who's hustling, who's working hard to make that bread, and you bringing home the bread, and you being outspent by the motherfucker who ain't done shit to earn none of that money. Seriously, like that. If you ever want to be angry, if you ever want to feel really pissed off, then go out and work your ass off and become really successful and make a lot of money, and then marry somebody who doesn't want to be successful, but who wants to benefit and suck up and absorb all the rewards that come from all your hard work. If you ever want to be upset and hate your life, put yourself in that situation. That will drive you insane. So what I think is that you really want, and nobody can really tell you the right way to do this, right? Nobody can tell you the right way to decide if somebody's financially compatible with you. But I'm going to tell you, you got to communicate. You got to communicate. Use your eyes, use your ears, talk it out. Use your eyes, ears, and mouth. That's how you communicate, right? So your eyes, you watch what they do. You watch how they move. You watch how if you're trying to figure out if he has a future, look at how he carries himself every day. If he's ambitious and he's hardworking and he's putting things together and making moves and always making plans and positioning himself, then he's going to be successful. But if he's sitting on the couch and he's complaining all the time and he's not trying to do anything, then you're probably with a loser. Same thing. Well, use your ears. Listen to them. When they talk about money, if they talk about money in a way that is very wasteful and destructive, then that means that's how they think about their income. They get money and they want to go spend it. So if that makes you uncomfortable, you need to get away from that. And then you use your mouth. You communicate your expectations. You communicate your budget. You communicate how you see the financial future of that family going so that they understand what table you're on. Because a lot of times, I'll give you some basic stuff I've seen. I've seen people, because I wrote a book called Financial Lovemaking about 13, 14 years ago. One of the things I saw on a regular basis would be situations where you would get a bait and switch. Like a bait and switch is where somebody acts like they're going to do one thing, and then as soon as you sign the contract, they flip and they do something else. Like you see it all the time. It's an example of a financial concept we studied in school called moral hazard. Moral hazard basically is when somebody flips the script on you once they get you to make a commitment. So, for example, girls see moral hazard like when a guy's really nice to them so he can get you to get him and have sex with him. Then the next day he don't want to call you no more. His attitude totally changes because he got what he wanted. Sometimes in marriage, people run into that problem too. Somebody's super nice to you. She's dropping it like it's hot. She's cooking for you anytime. She's being super sweet to you. You sign the deal and get married. Next thing you know, you're married to a bitch. And you're like, well, what happened to the girl I dated? Well, now she got you. Now she doesn't feel like she has to be nice to you anymore. There are some people out there like that, right? So one of the things about that moral hazard issue is that, overall, I think that sort of really making sure that you know what you're getting into is extremely important. I think communicating your expectations financially and otherwise is very, very important, and just making sure you're clear. In fact, I think prenups are a great idea. A lot of people don't like prenuptial agreements because they feel like it's not romantic, and I guess they think you're supposed to just dive in head first and just hope for the best. I don't believe in that. I think you should get stuff on paper that makes it very, very clear. Like, look, okay, we don't plan to get a divorce, but if we get a divorce, here's how it's going to go. I'm going to get the kids half the time, you'll get the kids half the time. Won't be no debating in court about it. It'll be on paper. You get this much money, I get that much money. Won't be no debating on it in court because it's all on paper, right? We want to make sure that if we have a disagreement, that is handled in an appropriate way. Because here's the thing. Here's a secret about marriage. A lot of people don't know this, but marriage actually relates to a lot of different relationships. The secret is not avoiding all conflicts and disputes. Disputes are always going to happen. With whoever, you're always going to have disagreements. The goal is to manage your shit, manage your disagreements in a way that is going to be productive as opposed to destructive. Like, so if you think about this, you have some people who get into disagreements and they are what I call escalators. They escalate the problem. They make it worse. Like, you ever see somebody where if somebody like makes them mad, they like one up that person, like they get louder than that person, or you push them, they punch you, or you say something negative about them, about their shoes, they come back and say something about your mama, right? Or or whatever, right? Or they get mad at you over some little issue and they just want to never speak to you again. Like those are escalators, right? And then you have other people that are de-escalators or problem solvers or bridge builders. Now that's the person who says, okay, now let's calm down, let's talk it out, let's figure this out, right? Or the person who says, here, let me get on the phone and talk, figure out what's going on. I'll apologize for what I did. I just want to talk it out so we can keep moving forward, we can keep the business going. So what happens is that in the black community, we have a lot of people that love conflict. You got a lot of people, like on the female side, I've seen a lot of women who mistakenly think that they're being strong black women by being big, bitchy barracudas, like out yelling everybody and getting loud and I don't really care. Blah, blah, blah. Ain't nobody gonna tell me. And you can't. If you a weak man, if you can't handle a strong black woman like me, you're not really being a strong black woman. You're being a loud black woman. You're not being like a strong. Like my grandma was a strong black woman. You're being an annoying black woman, right? So ultimately, escalators are not people that you want to form relationships with because those people are people that will destroy everything. Maybe because they've been traumatized, or maybe because they're used to conflict, they're used to going to war with people. You will never find love if you're always looking for war. Anybody who's always looking for war ain't built for love. Love is built on peace and tranquility and connection and productivity and bridge building and all this stuff. War is something totally different. So if you are always that person looking for a fight, then you're not going to no one will ever love you. You should just probably get you like a prostitute and just have sex with or a sex doll or something, or a dildo or whatever it is that you need, because you're not going to ever be able to have a healthy relationship with another human being unless you get into a relationship with somebody who beats you down into submission in order to get you to stand down and shut up. Some people want that. Some people want a person to abuse them, male and female. And same thing with men. You have some men out here whose egos are so fragile, so weak, who are just so full of themselves, who can't possibly even tolerate being corrected by a woman. You ever seen that? Like when you got a guy who's driving the wrong way down the road and you're like, well, baby, I think we were supposed to turn back there. And he starts getting on, well, why are you always nagging me? Like they're just stupid, or you have a debate. Like, this is why I feel bad. Honestly, I'm old fashioned. I kind of believe like women like men that are a little smarter than them. Not to say that women can't be the smartest one in the relationship, but it becomes kind of weird, right? Because you're dealing with ego, right? So you got this woman, you got a PhD, you went to Stanford, and you up here dating the guy, the guy who works at the the auto body shop, right? Or maybe he's he's the shift manager at Taco Bell. So you're trying to give him a chance because you don't want to be judgmental, you don't want to be picky, you don't want to be arrogant or elitist. So you're dating the shift manager at Taco Bell, and you got your PhD from Stanford. So next thing you know, here's the thing. Now, that can be a good relationship, right? I mean, Taco Bell's got good food. You can get like free tacos and stuff. Ain't no wrong with that. And maybe you can elevate him. Maybe he sees you and he's inspired by you. Or maybe he's a great support system. Maybe there are other good things. So ain't nothing wrong with this. But here's where it can go wrong. Where it can go wrong is when the Taco Bell shift manager has like a really big ego and doesn't want to ever believe that he's wrong about anything. So next thing you know, you're sitting there and you're at dinner and you have a debate over, molecular physics or politics or whatever it is, and he never wants to be wrong. He never believes that he's wrong. And so you're stuck in this weird situation where you either have to dumb yourself down so you don't hurt his feelings and make him mad, or you correct him and then you got to deal with the wrath of the shift manager at Taco Bell who thinks that he's always more correct than the PhD from Stanford. Like, that becomes like a problem too. So you've seen that a lot with like men that unfortunately can't handle a woman that's like smarter than them or kind of knows what's going on. So I think that at the end of the day, I think you want to look for somebody who's kind of balanced. In fact, it makes me go back to Mary J. Blige. Like Mary J. Blige, I think that it takes a special kind of man to marry a Mary J. Blige, or to marry a Jill Scott, or to marry a Sherry Shepard, because these are high-powered women. Most men don't make more money than these women, so you would have to be dealing with a man who really has a firm enough a firm enough self-esteem that his ego is in check, that he can realize that, look, when we go out, everybody's going to be checking for you, that you're going to be the favorite person at every event that we go to, that you're going to be the one who's bringing home the bacon. But at the same time, you have to have a woman whose ego's in check, who doesn't get out of pocket and start feeling some kind of way because she's paying all the bills and he's not paying anything. Because I'm going to tell you what, a lot of men, you might have a decent man, a balanced man, who still at the same time is not going to let you castrate and emasculate him, where every time you get mad, you remind him that you're making more money than him. That ain't going to work. Again, if that's your protocol, then you need to go ahead and just marry your vibrator or something, because ain't no real man going to put up with that for a very long time. So ultimately, what I would say is that the answer when it comes to these relationships and making the right investments is to get some counseling. Read some books together, get counseling, figure out a way to work through your issues. Every issue can be worked through. You just need to get some instructions. Now, here's the problem for black folks. A lot of us just don't want to read no books. A lot of us just don't, we don't want to read books. We don't want to go to classes. We don't